Hey guys, as promised yesterday, today I'm back with another video about DC Dark Legion to review Swamp Thing, a brand new warrior from the Justice League Dark faction. He's highly anticipated since many of you already own Justice League Dark heroes, so this could either make an already powerful faction even stronger,
There are
or
many
he might just turn out
disruptions
to
in the
be an
raid,
unnecessary addition.
which should
Stick
be our
around
main
until the end of the
focus.
video to find out whether you should skip him or actually invest in him. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe so you won't miss the next exciting content. First off, I won't go into the basics of the Justice League Dark faction, metahumans, or the warrior class, since I'm pretty sure most of you are already familiar with those. If anyone still doesn't fully understand, feel free to leave a comment and I'll explain it later. To keep the video short and clear, let's jump straight into his skills, break them down, evaluate them, and then look at some suggested team comps, or even who he could potentially replace within the Justice League Dark lineup. For skill 1, he deals spiritual damage to one target and reduces the target's energy. This effect is quite new in the game, but its purpose is simply to slow down the process of the target using their ultimate. However, it is only useful when Swamp Thing attacks first, and it would be better if it affected multiple targets. Then it would be more useful, just like Black Canary, even though she doesn't reduce energy. She also prevents the target from using skills, like just that the duration is too short. Let's see his other skills to check if Swamp Thing can gain energy or apply a wide range energy reduction effect. Then we can evaluate further. Skill 2 is the important one. At the start of the battle, he gains a spiritual amp every 5 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. This helps him increase his damage even more if he survives longer, so I think you need to try to keep him alive as long as possible. Moving on to his ultimate, I think the way it is presented is quite similar to Supergirl, so I guess the area damage is equal to Supergirl's. Later at the end of the video, I'll try him out to see, since I haven't tested the skill yet. However, in terms of total damage, it's not as strong as Supergirl. If we don't count his skill 2, it's probably even lower than Hawkgirl. But if we also don't count Crypto's support, then Supergirl and Swamp Thing can be about the same in terms of damage. Now, the special point is the extra effect of reducing the energy of all enemies hit by his ultimate. And there's also another very big advantage. His passive skill reduces all enemies' energy right at the start of the battle. Do you know what that means? It means you must have him if your server has too many Legion of Doom players, because this faction is famous for gaining energy very fast to Lex Luthor and their passive buff. So, if you are struggling against this faction, he is a great choice. The most notable point, and what I think is his strongest, is skill 4. He summons a swamp to help his teammates survive longer, because this swamp will take damage instead of his allies, and it doubles if there are 3 Justice League Dark teammates. That way, the damage they take will be much less. And as you know, the Justice League Dark needs survivability the most. As long as Constantine survives long enough, the enemy is surely going to lose. Now let's move on to Swamp Thing's exclusive legacy. His base stats are increased attack and increased HP. These two stats are important for a warrior since they need both survivability and damage. However, I personally think Swamp Thing needs energy gain bonus more, because he needs to attack first to slow down the enemy's ultimate usage. His skill 1 in the legacy is extremely good. It can counter assassins or strong physical damage dealers like Superman and Supergirl, because it reduces the attack and crit rate of all enemies. And as you know, Nightwing really relies on crit rate to maximize his damage. In general, all physical damage dealers depend on attack and crit rate, but this legacy reduces attack by up to 30% and crit rate by 15%. That's a huge number. And that's not all. The second skill of this legacy not only increases the damage of his ultimate, but also heals him every 5 seconds. Even though the amount is not that high, I think it still helps improve his survivability and gives him a little more damage. So I think if you plan to use him, you definitely have to get this legacy, because you need to keep Constantine alive against assassins like Deathstroke and Nightwing, and this legacy together with Swamp Thing's skill set will help Constantine in particular and the whole Justice League Dark team survive much better. Besides supporting the Justice League Dark faction, you can also use Swamp Thing in some other teams that I won't name here. I'll just talk about the purpose. For example, when you need to counter the Legion of Doom. As I mentioned earlier, this faction gains energy at the start of the battle thanks to Lex Luthor. So, with the presence of Swamp Thing, this faction becomes much weaker. If you already have Swamp Thing's legacy, you can also use him when you need to deal with assassins that are too strong, like Deathstroke and Nightwing, or even the entire Bat family, the Titan faction, and the Superman family in general. In addition, he can also counter heroes who have very strong ultimates like Supergirl, Constantine, Joker, Sinestro, Superman, and more, if he can use his ultimate before them. And there are still many other ways he can support his teammates. I'll make a build guide video for you later. That's all for my video today. See you again in the next one.
I never miss.
The darkness fears me.
Great Hera.
Let me at him!
I never miss.
The darkness fears me.
Wow.
They want to get...
Harley?
Yeah.
Watch out for the...
Oh, they do?
Batter up!
Let me at him!
Great Hera.
I never miss.
The darkness fears me.
Let me at him!
The darkness.
I never miss. I never miss.